Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Good morning, Michael Moore.
Good morning, Nicole Juergens.
And to our viewers, welcome to Highly Uncircumcised. I have to make a confession to start this show. Last night, Mike was on vacation last week, so we actually didn't film last week, even though we had a show. But so I talked to him last night for like the first time in like a week, probably, right? It feels like a long time for
2
us.
weeks, actually.
Yeah, it feels like a long time for us. And I was like, so what do we want to talk about? He's like, well, I've been watching this great documentary. It's called Explained. And there's a lot of like good facts in there. And like, we can talk about stuff like the water shortage. And he's given a lot of great points. I was like, yeah, that sounds good. And I was like, I'm going to go watch it. And then I turned on Netflix last night and I saw the recommended movie was The Vault. And then I watched that and I didn't watch Explained.
And thank you for joining this week's session of Highly Uncircumcised, and we will see you guys later.
and scene. So yeah, I didn't actually study up and or do anything that we talked about possibly doing. But
well, how was the movie? Because I haven't seen it yet, and I'm actually waiting to see it.
It's really good. Well, I like these kind of movies. I mean, I like a lot of movies, but I like these kind of movies where they break into shit. You know, they break into the unbreakable and like they get in this vault and it's like the good guys doing it too, right? It's because like these guys, like the government stole it from them, and so they're stealing their shit back, right? I like that whole story. Like they build it all up. Plus, it's the main character is a guy from Game of Thrones, and I forgot who he was on Game of Thrones, but you'll recognize him. But then
like
also,
the O.J. Simpson story.
What is that on TV right now?
No, I'm talking about the real life O.J. Simpson.
Oh.
He went to jail for trying to steal back stuff that had been stolen from him. I digress.
That's why he went to jail? I thought he went to jail because he like hit somebody or something. Or
no, he and some dudes broke into well, actually, they didn't even break into it. They went to this hotel room in Vegas where this guy was, who was holding all of OJ's like memorabilia, his Heisman Trophy, and all these big awards that he had gotten over the course of his life. And the funny thing about it is, all that stuff was supposed to go to the Goldmans anyway, right? So anything that OJ had worth any sort of money was supposed to go to the Goldmans in their civil settlement.
And the Goldmans is the wife that he killed?
Well, that's the guy that he killed.
Oh, okay.
Ron Goldman.
Okay.
And anyway, so OJ was trying to steal back stuff that was supposed to go to them anyway, and ended up doing like 10 years in jail or prison because he went to steal back his own stuff, which actually didn't belong to him. Wow. That's a whole podcast.
You know why he went to jail is because
of course.
Serious misjustice the first time.
Guys,
I mean, the whole world knows the guy killed the girl and he's just all walking around like no big deal.
Do we though? This is now going to become the O.J. Simpson
the truth,
podcast.
Really? What if we just make this podcast all O.J. Simpson all week, every week?
We would probably just blow up, dude. We would probably be huge.
Well, right now he has a PSA about getting your vaccine. So yeah,
does he really?
It. Yes, O.J. Simpson, get your vaccine.
Like on television?
Get it? I don't know. It was on social media.
Oh, I've never seen it. That's hilarious. Get your vaccine.
They know, they pay all these people to do that, right? Like showing them getting the jab or like, oh, look at this. I'm doing it for you. Like, no, you ain't. You're doing it, bitch. You're doing it for $1 million. Shut the hell up.
Hey, if they want to give me $1 million, they can stick me every take for the commercial.
Listen, this is how you persuade me. You give me $1 million, I will go in front of the whole world and get right there. Get it right there. $1 million.
I spent the day with my mom the other day and I was talking to her about you and I said, I can't wait for the video to come out of Nicole running down the street. Some guy with his vaccine gun. I said, that's coming soon. That's coming soon.
No, I'll be underground before then. So anyways, this leads me back to why I like this movie or these movies, The Vault.
Uh-huh.
And in this movie, they're criminals, but they're the good guy criminals, right? But one of them, the girl in the group, is like a really good pickpocket. I was like, I need some of those skills, like as our world evolves, like those are the skills that are coming in handy. Like I need to learn how to do that. Like she would just pick a wall and no one would even know, like, ooh, that's that. So I need some self-defense. I also need some pickpocketing. There's some skills like basically the opposite of everything we ever learned up until now. That's what we need to learn now. That's what's happening here.
So like,
So
what would your top 5 skills be that you don't currently hold?
Self-defense. So I mean that's a broad one, because in there could be like knife work, gun work, all the self-defense things, right? Then there's survival. Like I don't even know how to start a fire. Like I without a match and without a lighter, you got to start a fire, right? That's survival's a whole bunch of shit. But then there's like understanding how to forage in survival, right? What can you eat? What can you not eat? How to kill shit, and then not just kill it, but then also like then you gotta like skin it and cut it apart, and like what do you right? I mean, there's so many skills. Do we know any of these? No, we don't. We know none of these. Like, we are so sheltered. and then, yeah, we're going to have to learn how to steal shit. I mean, because in the interim, until we learn all those other skills, how are we going to get by? We got to, you got to learn how to pickpocket. So there's a lot of skills that I need to learn. And it has never been more apparent than when you go on social media and listen or read the comments all day.
Okay, I have one piece of advice for you. Stay off of social media. That's the first thing. The second thing is the skill that I would love that I currently do not hold would be to move things with my mind, because then I would make your job like 60% easier, because I would totally I could just skin the animal with my mind. I could just move his skin off of his body. I could lift your wallet out of your back pocket, 40 feet away. I would just look at you and, that would be done like that. So yeah, I just want to be able to move things with my mind. Is that called telekinesis? Is that what that is? Do I have that right?
That is. Remember Firestarter?
I do, 50 years ago, and I'm 44.
That was like in the 80s, and I was little. Drew Barrymore was little. That was a good movie, and then and of course, but what's good about that movie is like the government's trying to kill them, right? Of course they are, because they're scared of them, because the government's scared. You can't have somebody more powerful than them. So
well, I'm kind of with the government on this one. I don't know if I want little girls being able to blow shit up with their minds.
Maybe they're the next evolution. You gotta let that shit populate.
Evolve on another continent. I don't need 6-year-olds with fire starter skills in Southern California.
I do. I'm here for it. Yeah, I think that telekinesis. I'm sure there are people who are telekinetic, right? Like, but
do you know why I'm laughing? Wait. Do you know why I'm laughing? Because when you just said I'm here for it, I just pictured you sitting at a poker table, and like half the table just going up in flames.
Yeah, but see, this is where you have to learn this is why we are not telekinetic yet, because we can't even control our own brain, our own minds. Of course, we can't have those powers. But once we can understand and become more emotionally and mentally mature, who knows where we can take that.
It's a discipline thing.
I think that we can't evolve into it if we can't even handle it. And we definitely can't handle. We can't handle our own brain, let alone powers beyond our brains, no.
You know what? I have to say I'm in 100% agreement with you. 100%. Like 100%. And I'll tell you why. I'll use me as an example. Because if I had those powers, half the bike would be dead.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the next day you'd be very sad about it. You'd be like, "Oh no, what did I do?" But in that moment, you would have killed everybody.
You and I probably wouldn't be having this podcast.
Yeah, I'd be dead a long time ago.
Especially on censorship number 2. Everybody would have just seen you spontaneously combust.
I start yelling and I just blow up. Mike's like, there you go. That's what you get.
And there ended the lesson, people. Push the button. Oh
Nicole
my
will not be
God.
here any longer, but we'll find a new
we'll
co-host.
we'll get a fill-in next week.
So yeah, I mean,
Nobody will.
I think that right now we need to focus on what we can do, and we've
It's not
become
much.
so no, well, and it's a product of how good we have it, right? Like life is easy and good and comfortable, and so the minute it gets a teeny bit uncomfortable or scary or feels unsafe, we immediately like, oh my god, like we blow up. Like, wait, what? Like, we are so sheltered. So
Ooh.
I need to, I need to learn some skills. Like we should
What?
start
Why do you think? What?
a skill school for like survival skill school.
Listen. Why do you think it? Yeah, it's like yeah. Okay. Why do you think we're so comfortable? What does comfort mean to you? What does that look like?
I mean, like I just said, like we're so comfortable in that life is very easy. You're hungry, we have food. You go.
That's not everybody.
Of course, I'm talking about broad generalizations. Of course, there's very poor and there's very extremes, and there's different countries where don't have any of it, right? But that's what I'm
That's what
saying.
I was thinking. I
In
was
our
actually thinking.
country, like, and I didn't want to make generalizations about other countries. I really don't even know, but I can't imagine we would like imagine today, considering our response to a virus that doesn't kill anybody barely. But now imagine we get bombed and everybody, like millions and millions of people are dead. Like, what is going to happen to this country? Like, I don't think we'd be able to handle it. Like, how do these countries handle this where they're like literally bombed all the time? Probably by us, right? Like bombed all the time. And
Well, no, but that's a way of life going back generations for them. So I think the one thing about all humans across the board is that we adapt. And sadly, a lot of people have to adapt to like, daily bombings and all kind of stuff that goes on. But I actually happen to think life in America is probably among the toughest on earth. And people would probably argue with me until they understand what I'm saying. Yes, I get that we have all the conveniences and all that kind of stuff, but surviving here is really not easy at all. This is not the easiest place to survive. I
well,
mean, some places are just very simple and
surviving is easy. If you're talking about like basic survival, it's
like
easy.
eating and
Yeah.
okay, but even
Yes.
that, I mean, there's a huge percentage of people that don't know where their next meal is coming from.
And getting shelter, and I mean, even there's I mean, you live in LA, like anybody can have housing. They can, like it's even if you're
No,
homeless, yeah, they're building them. I mean, at least in Long Beach, they're spending $12 million building housing for like it's not hard to survive in our country, whereas I think it's probably, when you talk about other third world countries, like survival is actually that's what they have to strive for every day, perhaps. And
I
I
think
think
that
that's
if
how
we
we've
had
become so sheltered.
I think that if we had 10 people right now on this show, 6 or 7 would have vehemently disagreed with you right now,
I disagree with that assumption.
which is why that they would disagree with you disagreeing with my assumption.
Six or
Trust me.
seven in the
Yeah,
United States.
yeah.
What country do you think has more ability or more ease of survivability? Like it's so
Canada.
easy here. What?
Yeah.
Sure, but that's okay. North America. What outside of here? I mean, that's basically like
France.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah. So there's so many social programs and government entitlement programs that everybody is taking care of. You do not see homelessness in those countries the way that you see here. There's got to be a reason why.
Well, are they socialist? I mean, I don't know what their governments
Yeah.
are like. Well,
Yeah.
okay, that's so you want
Free
a
healthcare.
socialist? You want a socialist society?
We already have a socialist society. What do you
No,
think
we're going
Medicarians
that
and
way.
Medicaid? Well, no, we already have it. What do you think Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and all this kind of stuff is? And Medi-Cal, that's all socialism. That's social programs.
Well, no wonder why we're going down the tubes. Like, and this is why I need my survival skills. It's not going to be pretty.
You
It's
have a
not
problem
gonna be
with
pretty.
socialism, Nicole?
I 100% have a problem with socialism.
Tell me about it. I'd love to hear
leads
about it. Tell me.
leads to trash. That's where we're
Since,
going right now.
since you didn't watch the documentary,
I
Why
didn't.
don't you just
Oh,
tell me?
was there something socialism explained?
There's a, you know what? I'm not going to tell you about anything on Explained until you watch it and it gets explained.
But did you watch The Vault?
Was that on our list of of viewing for Highly Uncircumcised? Was that on the
No,
list?
what you didn't telekinesis it from my brain.
No, there was no tele anything on that. There was tele you didn't do your job. But listen, I want to know from you, because I find this very interesting actually. You know what, you all, let me just say before I give you the question.
Let me just say something before you say something. If you're going to say you always do something, I already object. Do not do that. Do not say always. Nobody always does something.
You always surprise me.
I still don't think I always surprise you, but in
You
that
always
case.
surprise me. Well, I would say, no, you're right. Ever since we started the podcast, you have surprised me on many, many, many occasions. So stuff
How
that
so?
I would,
How so?
it's like, I would never think that I would hear you like say you have a problem with socialism, because you're very, anyway, just tell me what.
Well, but that's the thing. So I think you're equating socialism or not being for socialism as somehow not being for people. And I think the opposite. I think it focusing on your civil liberties and individual rights actually enforces a healthier society for everybody. Like when you start socialism, I think it starts leading towards governing for the lowest common denominator, right? So you think about like you're in school, your kids are in school, and if they're constantly teaching to the lowest graded one in class, what's going to happen? I mean, the rest of the class is going to get bored. They're going to act out. They're maybe not going to get smart. They're not going to get pushed. They're not going to be ambitious. They're not, that's what I mean. When you start governing in that way, you can see like what happens with the people. Are like, well, I'm not incentivized to go do anything. I mean, even right now, when like you look at the few billionaires we have and like people are all mad at them, like, why are you mad at them? Like they went and worked hard and did their shit, and like let them do what they want to do, like.
Oh my God, you have opened up so many different topics of conversation in the last minute. I don't even know if I can touch on the first three, but I will say this. I think you're actually referring more to communism than socialism. Socialism is just simply everybody being okay with a percentage of their worth or income or whatever being meted out
the
to the
definition of socialism. Let me look it up.
Yeah, being meted out to the masses to take care of the whole of the community. I don't disagree with you when you're talking about, like, for instance, teaching to the lowest percentile in school or something like that. I get it, but if you actually look up, while you're looking up the definition of socialism, if you look up the actual amount of people that live at or below the poverty line in America, then you would realize that you wouldn't be teaching to the lowest common denominator. You would be teaching to probably almost the majority.
Okay, but listen. Okay, so here's a definition of socialism: a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole.
Right, which is what I just said.
In Marxist theory, it's a transitional social state between the overthrow of capitalism and the realization of communism. It's basically a stepping
it's like
stone
right in
to
between
communism.
capitalism and communism, which I yes, I would agree with. And I don't subscribe to communism from what I know and understand of it. But I do think that there's great benefit to a social element in governing. And I don't mean that your hard work shouldn't yield you the fruit of your hard work, but let's face it, those billionaires that you just said everyone's mad at, 90% of them, A, are not self-made, and B, they use capitalism, which exploits the poor to enhance the wealth of the rich. Why do you think the rich are constantly getting more rich? It's not just a steady progression. It's literally like it balloons every year, the amount of wealth that the wealthy are attaining. And I'm not mad at them, but let's call a spade a spade. I mean, most of these people do it on the backs of others.
I don't know if I agree. I mean, I haven't studied it enough. All I know is that when we live in a free market society, things will correct themselves. When the government, when it stays out of the way, it will give it time. The problem is asking a government to monitor your people and or direct how people are meant to spend their money or spread their wealth is, we're putting our faith in this institution to do that. Like I just
I
don't
don't disagree with you.
subscribe to that.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree with you. I think I'm talking about socialism as an ideology as opposed to an actual practiced application by your government. Um, to me, honestly, socialism just means taking care of your neighbor. That's really what it means to
I
me.
mean, I think
all.
that's of course, and that's what I'm saying. Like I I subscribe to that. That's why you're like when you're surprised. Like I don't subscribe to social. I don't subscribe to more government ever. Like I subscribe to a government supporting and serving its people, but not dictating or mandating what its people are meant to do. I don't think that's to me that's not the role of a government. Um, I believe that people, you hope that people will do that on their own. You look at people like Oprah Winfrey, who's a billionaire, but gives away millions and millions of dollars every year, right?
Right.
And we don't ever talk about her, but we focus on the billionaire that's going to space, and we're all mad at him because he's going to space. Like, who the fuck cares? They make a lot of money, and they give what they can, and like, I
and
think
that's a
it's
beautiful thing. I'm not in any way mad for somebody being financially successful. Here's what I was going to say also, because you mentioned the free market. I think America has proven that it's really not a free market, though. If you look back at 2008, when the economy crashed and the government bailed out all the big businesses because they were quote unquote too big to fail, which says it's not a free market. It's only a market that sustains the uber rich, right? Because if our mutual friend lost his restaurants, right, during the pandemic, the government's not coming to bail them out, or they'll do this PPP loan, right? It's a loan which has to be paid back, but somehow,
not really. I mean, really.
They gotta pay that back. Like people are going to jail.
They can prove that they used it for hourly like payroll. If you prove you used it for payroll, then you don't have to pay it back.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, if you look at those companies like AIG and some of the big banks, the investment banks.
No, I agree with that 100%.
I mean,
that's what I mean about our government. That's what I mean. Do you remember? I remember it was like September of that year, whenever it was that all that went down. I remember like I was actually watching the news when I never watch it, right? To watch this every day. And every single state, one by one, all the constituents said no. Do not bail them out. No. Do not bail anybody out. No. You know what happened? They all got bailed out. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I agree with you 100% on that. The government should not have the right to interfere in they are not serving or supporting their people at all.
Right.
I agree. And I mean, there's other things that are allowed, whereas like, Facebook and Instagram and all these are becoming almost monopolies. Like those things like you say, okay, if you allow a free market, then you allow that. In some cases like that, maybe we want the government to step in order to allow competition. When they monopolize things like that, there's no more competition. So there is lines, but I don't think socialism is it.
Again, you have surprised me because I would think that someone with the points of views that you've expressed even over the last few weeks would not believe in government intervention. I personally see, here's where you and I are just so funny because we just crisscross on all these things. I think, if your company was awesome enough to get the market share and the lion's share of business, man, that's the free market. You're obviously doing something that has the majority of people coming to you for whatever it is. It may suck in terms of the fact, in terms of there not being competition. I get what you're saying, but guess what?
And I guess I mean more like allowing, like look at cable companies, right? They allow basically utility monopolies, right? You only have the choice for one in your neighborhood, right? I mean, this is why actually competition did come about. Now we have Dish and we have whatever, but it used to be, and it still is, in your neighborhood, there's one cable company. And that's not because there's not competition. It's because that's how they allow it. The government allows it that way. So I guess maybe I don't know enough of it. Maybe it's because they are allowing maybe if they stayed out of it. I don't.
So check this out. You're an iPhone person, and you realize like these new iPhones, the iPhone 10, 11, and all these new phones literally are costing $1,500 and all this kind of stuff. It's just ridiculous.
$12.99.
Well, whatever. After tax, $1,500. Okay,
Wow,
round off.
When
That's
we get to
public school
that
math.
tax, that's Common Core. Like, you learn the math. When we get to that,
that's public school math. I just rounded up. Okay, 1,500.
When we get to that sales tax, see, okay, let's bring it back to the beginning.
Nicole,
I need these
sales
skills.
tax on $1,300 is $130 in Arcadia, California. So guess what that puts it at? $1,430. $1,430 is $1,500, right? That's fair.
Well, it's 1,400, but anyways, so
oh my
Common
gosh,
Core.
I'm done. Listen, here's where I was going with that.
Listen.
Here's where I'm going. Don't talk to me about and Kumon math and all that. Listen, I know enough to balance my bank account. You just hush. Listen, Apple literally wouldn't even be a company if the government hadn't made Microsoft bail them out 20 years ago because Apple was going under and the government wouldn't allow Microsoft to be a monopoly. So they had to write them a check for like $10 billion to have them tread water and, stay afloat. Now they're literally, I think, the second biggest company on earth, maybe the first. I think they go back and forth based on stock price. But I'm just telling you, like, how in the world is this really free market? It's not free market. If it was a free market, there would be monopolies on certain things because certain companies like Amazon and Facebook and Microsoft and who else? AT&T was broken up in the 80s. How do you think we have Verizon? Verizon is just a division of, or not a division of, but it came about because of the breakup of AT&T. America is something else. I think that we espouse certain things, but then when the rubber meets the road, we meaning the government, do whatever they feel they need to do.
I'm just looking up the definition of monopoly right now. Monopolies can result from extreme free market capitalism. In that, absent any restriction or restraints, a single company or group becomes large enough to own all or nearly all of the market, including by acquiring competitors for a particular type of product or service. So yeah, I mean, I guess I agree with you. There's definitely a line, right? Because if it's so free that they buy everything, I mean, then everything would be a Walmart, right? I mean, for sure, it already would be right now. That's all we would have is Walmarts, right?
Guess what?
Who wants to
I don't
live?
shop at Walmart.
And who wants to live in that kind of world? Like, yeah, no.
I don't shop at Walmart.
Me neither. Right.
Which means that there's choice.
Exactly. I concur. So yeah. So I mean, I didn't intend to like get into like at what point you draw the line. So yeah, I guess you're right. At some point, the government has to draw a line. But also, I think that again, I think it's initiated by the people. I think it's not like they just decided like, oh, I got to break this company up. I think it's initiated and still they are serving the people in that process. It's not.
I think you would be wrong about that. I think it's the companies that are getting swallowed up and are losing because of that competition that make the noise. It's not the consumer. I bet you.
I would. If everything was a Walmart, I'd be picketing outside. Like, give me another fucking store. Like, I don't want to shop here. Now I got to learn survival skills because you're making me shop at Walmart. I got to go hunt my food in Long Beach, California. It's very hard.
What would you be hunting out there? Like pit bulls and fish?
The other day I took my dog, there's like literally in Seal Beach, there's this little like wooded area and you wouldn't even believe it. It's in Seal Beach, but it's behind these homes and it's up against like a nature reserve. So there's like 1 mile of just woods. It looks like Minnesota for like 1 mile. And I let my dog just run through there and it's like their backyard now. They love it. But there's also these paths off. And one time I went off and there are signs that said, watch out for coyotes, right? So we usually just stay in the big wooded area, but we went off this path one time and then all of a sudden my dogs started acting weird. Like they ran and then they ran back and I was like, what's going on? And then, so we keep walking and all of a sudden this coyote comes out just right on the path, just looks me right in the eyes. Like, what's up, bitch? I was like, and he just stared at me. And so I was like, you guys, let's go. And so we turned around, we literally started running and it wasn't like sprinting, but it was staying a safe distance, but it was following us. I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm not going down like this. Like, but if everything is a Walmart, I'm going to eat that coyote. That's what's going to happen.
We need to pause for station identification. You're watching Highly Uncircumcised on YouTube. Listen, first of all, let me just tell you something because I grew up with coyotes. Literally, they would be outside my house like all the time. Coyotes are the biggest cowards ever. The only time they would ever potentially attack is if they had like a bunch of them. Other than that, you're safe. But wait till you have a bear run 30 feet from you, like I did.
saw it. I know you came into the
Yeah.
bike. You showed us. It wasn't even by you. It was like hanging out on your fence.
You know what? Mental note. I'm gonna have Esther call you. Literally, I just have to tell you this because you're now arguing with me about it. Listen, I saw the bear from my backyard, okay? And I yelled to my family. I said, "Hey, there's a bear out here." Everybody run to the front yard. So we all ran to the front yard, and I was first. So I'm running out there.
You were first. You're like pushing all the kids, pushing them out of the way. Like, get out of the way. I was the first one out there. I was the first one out there. Listen, the way I lived on a corner at the time, and there was hedges covering my entire front yard up to a certain point. So I can't see the street, but I can see it from my backyard. So I'm running out there. I'm running. As soon as I got to the sidewalk in front of my house, the bear comes around the corner with cop cars following him, and he's running. And I turned around. He's like, the popo's after me.
No, but I turned around and I said, "Everybody run back to the house." They locked me out. This is the God's truth. I was so far in front of everybody. They turned around and ran so fast. They got to the door and didn't let me in. They thought we were all in the house. And I'm like, "Let me in the house. Let me in the house." Fortunately, the bear went to my neighbor's house across the street and jumped over the fence and actually jumped in their jacuzzi. It was the funniest thing you ever seen.
I got to find that. The bears in the pool. They always like to swim in the pool.
Oh, he just got in the pool and he literally just like put his arms out. He was just having the time of his life. And then the cops came and tried to shoot him with the thing. So he jumped out of their pool and went to the next neighbor's house.
Bear in pool in Arcadia.
There's an article about this?
There's a video. Hold on. Let's get it here. Hold on. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this. Bear in pool in Arcadia. Let's share it.
And seeing bears in Arcadia, by the way, is so freaking rare. Like, there should be no chance you see a bear.
Here it comes. Was this the bear? Was it with babies?
That bear has cubs. It's got little babies.
Oh, you're like,
that 4? Oh my God, that's a lot of cubs. 4 cubs?
That mama's busy. She's like, you guys, I need to chill for a bit. You guys just hang out. I'll be in the pool.
Usually you see like 2 cubs, maybe 3. 4 is a lot. Jeez. Well, that bear would tear you up if you tried to go out there.
You don't know that.
You're a mom. What would you do?
You don't just tear somebody up. Maybe you start running. You don't know.
Holy Lord. That's a bear, Nicole.
I mean, I'm not going out there for sure. I'm not 100% like not going out there, but you never know. How about the one where, the one, did you see the video where there was a bear on a fence in between 2 houses in a small little yard, but the dogs are yapping at it. The girl pushes it down like, she ain't scared.
Nah, well, she was out of her mind. I don't know what she was thinking. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Protect her babies.
Man, she was like 14 years old. It was a couple of dogs. That bear could have eaten those dogs. We know how I feel about pets. But anyway, yeah, I'm not going out there. I might have thrown something at the bear.
Throwing your flip flop. Get out, bear. Okay, so again,
I would have thrown Noah.
Wow, Noah, I hope you're not watching this. Listen, so this gets us all the way back to the beginning when clearly we have 0 skills. We can't even handle a bear in our backyard. We're running, bear, right? So
that's smart, Nicole.
We need better life skills.
Yes, they're called Smith and Wesson.
Do you have one? We have no skills.
I have 2.
We have no guns. We have nothing. We are wholly dependent on the government supporting us if something goes wrong, and we have no idea.
Tell you what,
how to survive for ourselves.
You let a bear come in my backyard, and I will prove to you how equipped I am.
It already did. You ran.
No. I wasn't thinking about shooting the damn bear. I saw like 50 cops behind it. I'm figuring I'm protected. I didn't realize they were going to let him run out front. Protect the public. That thing could have got me, for real. It could have got me very easily.
I hope they didn't kill it. Did they kill it or they just?
No, they just, not tase it, but
Tranquilized it.
There you go, tranquilized it, and
Brought it
then
back.
we all actually lifted the bear into the back of the fishing game truck.
Cute.
Yeah, and then
Where they
drove it
bring
up
it?
into the
What if
mountains.
you're the bear and you wake up, you're like, where the hell am I? This is not my home. This is not my home. Like, what the hell?
Go and get drunk in the neighborhood and then wake up. You know, that's human
Son
stuff.
of a, every day this happens. Poor bear.
Which brings me back to September 14th, Molly in the water supply for the catching, including bears. Let bears have a party.
He's like, he wakes up. How hard did I party? Did I party
Dude, I was
that
rolling.
hard?
I woke up in Arcadia, dude. I don't know what happened. Yeah. But no, they put him in a fishing game truck and then drove him back up into the mountains. But if the bear shows up like another time, I think they take more drastic measures. I don't know if they kill it. They'll definitely kill it if it harms like a pet or a human. Obviously, they'll kill it for sure.
Well, and luckily they're smart enough to not do that, so we don't have to do that. I mean,
well, that actually brings me to the zombie apocalypse.
I feel
that
like
I need to get equipped for.
I feel like we can shut it down today and prepare for our next show. And I really want to discuss survival skills and what we are going to do, me and you, and then help aid our viewers. How are we going to survive for what's next? Because something is next, and I don't think it's as comfortable as what's now.
Can I just put a little bow on this show and wrap it up for you?
Yes, please.
Highly Uncircumcised has already solved like 3 of the world's greatest problems. Okay. We ended racism. It's going to be over on September 15th, right? Because we're literally going to just put gallons of ecstasy in the nation's water supply and we're all just going to roll.
Fluoride's out, Molly's in. Yeah.
And if that doesn't work, cocaine. So we've solved that. What else did we solve? We solved our, I can't remember. Well, we've solved some huge problems. So I guess our next undertaking is how to equip the nation for the next disaster.
Stay tuned next week. It's going to be a humdinger.
You know what? I haven't had a humdinger in at least 16 years.
That's unfortunate. All right.
Just breezing through life with no humdingers.
Now, before you go, press a button.
But would you push the stinking button? If I told you it's how I'm going to feed my kids, would you push the button?
Subscribe.
Would you do it then?
We can't feed anybody until we get like 1,000 subscribers. We've got like 3. So
we've got at least 4. Okay, push the stinking button. What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah,
push it and just see how you feel.
Push it. You might like it.
Oh, that's a humdinger right there.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.